Lave radio. It's even louder than me. Hey, wait a minute. That can't be right.
Struggling with paying fines? Do you lose sleep in hyperspace worrying about docking at the next space station? If the answer is yes, then you need to call Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services.
I got scanned while in Federation space and was caught carrying slaves. It was an unexpected expense that I couldn't afford on top of my fines for damage caused whilst docking.
We can help you consolidate all your existing fines into a single large fine, payable in regular instalments at what is almost a competitive interest rate.
I called Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services, and they helped me pay my existing fines before I got a bounty on my head. They really saved my life.
At Cowell & McGrath, we've helped thousands of pilots whose fines had spiralled out of control.
I dared not go near a police star system. Got so desperate that I'd almost resigned myself to a life of piracy. Luckily, I found Cowell & McGrath's services before I actually murdered anyone in cold blood.
No fines too big, no criminal record too damning. We're here to help you, no questions asked. Find us in the Lave business directory.
I'd got into debt as a result of a massive counter lawsuit by Watt and Prittney. It happened because I'd taken advice on Python protection insurance from... Wait a minute! It was you!
Cowell & McGrath. Minimum liability, zero accountability. Warning, balances may go up as well as down. Missed payments may lead to repossession of your ship, seizure of cargo, or the issuing of a death.
Simple elegance. Pure style. Inimitable gloves. Exquisite taste. A dash of opulence. Wondrous flowing lines. This is more than a starship. At Gutenberg, we don't just design. We craft a way of life. We forge dreams in every curve. Fly with a sense of distinction. Fly with a sense of elitism. You are the best. Stand out from the rest and bask for the Empire.
Is your life like this? It could be like this.
Astrogators, put some excitement back in your life. Book an adventure in the Lave Business Directory. Now.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Galnet News Digest, 28th of February 3309. We read the news, so you don't have to. In this week's news, we look at some pretty blue pictures, while we wonder what can possibly be done to stop the Thargoids.
There is a way to stop the Thargoids advancing. There must be. Hiding somewhere in plain sight, there is something we could be doing. Something we could be using. Some approach to stop the Thargoids' control spreading even more widely through the bubble. But what is that thing? What is that action? The Thargoids have a purpose. They came to the bubble in response to the events in HIP 22460 last year, during which huge quantities of Guardian ancient relics were piled up around a Thargoid surface site. Salvation's attempt to wipe out the Thargoids using the resultant Proteus wave was a complete failure, with the initial blue radiation burst, which temporarily disabled the Thargoids, followed by a second green burst that woke the Thargoids up and disabled human ships. The whole episode seems to have annoyed the Thargoids, possibly because a 200-year-old human megalomaniac attempted to commit genocide upon their species, but it could equally have been a consequence of the memory of the ancient war between Thargoids and Guardians millions of years ago.
The Thargoids are far older than either the Guardians or humanity. They've been travelling round the galaxy planting barnacles which thousands of years later bear meta-alloys as fruit. These meta-alloys provide repairs and sustenance to the nomadic Thargoids, who quite possibly saw the Guardians as a pest in their barnacle fields and may see humanity in a similar light. The odd thing, though, is that there are no barnacles in the bubble. The Thargoids don't like something about humanity badly enough to venture away from their plantations. Do they think we're Guardians? What is it that they want from us that'll satisfy them, so they can return home? Do they want to see Azimuth destroyed? Do they want to reconnect with D2, the former human test subject, who could interface with the Thargoid hive mind? Do they want to meet up with the currently missing Fargod cult and discuss the afterlife with them? If only we knew.
We can. in a very small way, recreate the alchemy that happened in HIP 22460. We can convert blue Guardian relics into green unknown relics by plugging them into a Thargoid structure. This change seems to be what gave the Thargoids their power back. Professor Palin and Ram Tar are still collecting these relics, but is there something more direct that we could do with them? Meanwhile, the majority of effort is being directed at fighting off the Thargoids after they have invaded a system. Systems on Thargoid alert, systems that may soon be invaded, appear inscrutable. There is some evidence that destroying the Thargoid logistic ships, the Orthrus interceptors, may help discourage an invasion. But is there something else we could be doing that's more effective?
In a few days, we have new technology arriving. The top 25% of those who've been assisting Aegis in setting up production of the new caustic sink launchers will be given early access to the technology and will be able to venture further into the Thargoid maelstroms, or at least to last a little longer in the caustic fog that envelops whatever Thargoid technology exists within. Many believe that there are huge Thargoid battlecruisers inside those clouds, perhaps something similar to those huge Thargoid surface sites, only not crashed face first into a planet. Caustic sinks won't allow us to take on Thargoid battlecruisers, but they are a first step along the road. We'll need to find ways of clearing the fog, of breaking through the force field that prevents our ships from reaching the centre. We'll need to find ways to either communicate with what we find inside, or, more crudely, we may need to attack it to attempt to drive it off. There's so much we don't yet understand. Without that understanding, our efforts may be misguided, but they're the best that we can currently manage. But we really, really need to come up with some good ideas, and soon.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news, so you don't have to.
Waiting for things to load. Waiting for things to load. Sitting in your chair, waiting for things to load. Waiting for the manifest to update. Playing old space games. Waiting for things to load. You just want to get out there and explore space. See the galaxy. Blaze your own trail. But you're in your chair, waiting for things to load. Wait no longer, Commander! Automated cargo drones will load cargo into your ship in no time. Automated cargo drones, available now in most starports.
Greetings, Commanders. My name is Simon Jones, and you are listening to Lave Radio. This next track is called Into the Unknown. To hear more of my music, visit soundcloud.com/Simon Jones UK. Stay safe out there, Commanders.
travel to that trinary star. Can I leave my seat, take a stroll and stretch my feet, though I promised not to go too far. I could climb onto a Thargoid base, or maybe dangle from a planetary hat. Take a stairway up to heaven, jumping ship to ship. I'm sure we'll make it there together. Yeah, we'll always pull together. Space madness ain't this mind. How many years ago you can tell from all the babble, but we're all mad. It seems screens where I found another binary Earth-like pair. I need to leave this seat before it starts to eat me. Hyper-addicted by my bobblehead. Is Braben talking? What did he say to me? Or was it one of those brain trees? I think I heard a bird uncle speak. I'm in too deep. Rex has got me craving tinfoil hats. I'm just degrading. Space madness ain't this mind. Oh, many years ago you can tell from all the babble. But we're all mad, it seems together. Instance for bacon on, bacon on, bacon, bacon, bacon on. Bacon on, bacon on, bacon, bacon, bacon on. Bacon on, bacon on, bacon, bacon, bacon on. Bacon on, bacon on, bacon, bacon, bacon on.
Once I was falling asleep, awake but in a dream, at peace under the deep. But now I'm falling apart. No, I'm not scared. My dreams are all I ever needed. She told me what I'd see. Nothing's gonna get in my way. 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 Went on without a fear, just myself and my sincerity. Her words were the clarity. But we could still fall apart. If there really is a place where we can live without a worry, then I won't be in a hurry. Nothing's gonna get in my way. 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 I got this feeling there's nothing I can't hide. Inside this dream, my fears are pushed aside. And I'm fine, I'm fine, and I'm fine, I'm The ocean parted ways, and I started to worry. But she passed a golden crown, while my feet descended down, down. Nothing's gonna get in my way. Nothing's gonna get in my way. Down. Nothing's gonna get in my way. Nothing's gonna get in my way.
They came to our world long ago, 'tis said, and now they're out there in the depths of space, far away. Or maybe they're under the sea, far below. They're the old ones, the oldest of the old. Older than us. Older. That is not dead, which can eternal lie. And with strange aeons, even death may die. Old Ones Productions. Quality art prints, t-shirts, and chess sets for horror and science fiction fans. Because you never know when you might need Cthulhu, Commander. Find us in the Lave business directory, or alternatively at www.oldonesproductions.com.
My dad taught me a lot of things. Good things, like how to avoid a Thargoid shutdown field, always have a rebuy, and don't forget your limpets. But what he really showed me was a good gun in the right hand can win any fight. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, doesn't matter who you are, the best tool wins out every time. Don't take a risk, take the best. Kinematics. The Kinematic L6 will destroy anything on foot. High explosive, high damage, the only way to remove a target. Load up, lock on, take them out, and say goodbye. Make those bodies pile up just like Dad.
Hello, Commanders. The next track is Return of the Elite. This is a track from the Lave Revolution music album, used as the soundtrack for the Lave Revolution audio drama and produced as part of the Lave Revolution official fiction. If you'd like to listen to more of my work, you can find it on SoundCloud at Alan-Stroud-1. Enjoy and fly safe.
I'm David Lowe, aka Uncle Art. Back in 1993, I wrote and coded the two main themes to Frontier Elite 2. I had no idea at the time how popular those tracks would become to fans of the game. So in 2016, my daughter Holly and I ran a Kickstarter to fund a re-recording of the tracks. It was a great success, and we went to Abbey Road Studio 2, where the Chamber Orchestra of London performed and recorded the themes. It's all on film. Look on Amazon Movies for Uncle Art. This next track is the main theme to Frontier, recorded that day and featured on the album A Temporal Shift. For more of my video game music recreations, please visit uncleartretrogaming.com and stay tuned for more great music here on Lave Radio.
Natural remedies have always been some of the galaxy's finest, so when we discovered a wholly natural way of slimming down and reducing your appetite, we had to share it with everyone. Harnessing the amazing powers of our native parasitic life, we've solved an age-old problem. Vega Slimweed has been used by settlers of the region for decades with undeniable results and significant health benefits. If you think that Vega Slimweed could be the solution you're looking for, speak to your doctor today. Travelling with Vega Slimweed ingested may constitute smuggling. Please check before your journey and declare yourself at customs for an internal search. Failure to digest does not constitute grounds for reimbursement. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, increased blood pressure and heart rate, insomnia, nervousness, blurred vision, restlessness or headache. Some forms of parasite may cause stomach side effects like constipation, dry mouth, nausea or vomiting. A small sample of patients exhibit full body paralysis, catatonic states and internal hemorrhaging. Parasite must be purged before pupation, else death will occur.
From the creators of luggage limpets and passenger lounge suitcase shuttles comes the latest revolution in passenger transportation, the passenger cannon. For centuries, circus performers have perfected the technique of being fired from a cannon. Paired with our new memory gel passenger pod impact absorption technology, you too can speed up disembarkation times from your liner by up to 250%. No longer be limited by pad sizes and excessive docking fees with the passenger cannon. But how does it all work? First, all passengers will be issued with a passenger pod inflation suit during transit. On approach to your passenger's destination, simply fill the inflation suit with our patented impact-absorbing memory gel. Then, once in a stable position in proximity to the destination, effortlessly slide them into the disembarkation chamber ready for launch. The passenger cannon is now available in both gimbaled and turreted varieties to make aiming elementary. Make your liner one of the top 1% in the galaxy. Buy a passenger cannon today. Warning: passenger cannon must not be operated on high-gravity planets or near geysers.
Radio. Lave.
Commanders. The show that talks about the universe of Elite and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous, and the fantastic community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 432 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix of Fire, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Ben Moss-Woodward, otherwise known as Ed Levice.
Where did Ben go?
I don't know, he seems to have gone. He just went. I just heard nee, 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 and then gone.
Wow.
It's like he's been kidnapped by the minions.
Magnificent start.
Is there any other kind of start for this show?
True, true. Ben, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I guess my snoring didn't come through then.
Oh no.
Oh, is he that
well,
bored
that's
with
crap then.
Is he that bored with us already?
He was saying a minute ago that he was knackered, so
yeah.
I suppose to explain that joke.
Because we like explaining jokes to show us.
Do we?
Ben up since 5 o'clock this morning, so you've got to give him a little bit of a break. Anyway, we also had the other voice you heard there was obviously our staff liaison officer, Commander Psychit.
Hello.
Hello. And joining us in addition to all that, unfortunately our apprentice stunt driver, or Banksy stunt driver, Alec Turner, is away in Devon today. Having a nice little family break. So we have roped in at the last moment, and we're very glad that she's here. Katie Chaos, welcome to Lave Radio.
Oh, seven peeps, how are we doing?
Welcome.
We are
welcome
getting more caffeinated by the minute.
Oh, he's too busy grinding beans, doesn't he? Anyway, no, that's not a euphemism. He's got a bean grinder in his room.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, and if you wish, you can join us live. We are hanging out in game. Ben, I do believe, is in open, and
I am in open, and I am in Lave, and I believe Katie is flying her way towards me if she hasn't made it already.
I'm just on my way to Lave Station now.
Excellent. And if you can't get to us in game, you can always join us in the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Actually, yeah, we'll mention something about that later. Click on the live chat, or you can go to twitch.tv/laveradio, or we're streaming on Twitter, or we're streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming on Facebook. So you have plenty of choices. With that, we'll quickly go around the team, see how they've been for the last week or so, and we'll start with Ben, if you're still awake.
Yeah, I'm still awake. So, very busy with life. Getting ready to go up north for a few days, so that'll be fun. But seeing family and stuff like that. Over the weekend, I had lots and lots of fun with the hack swing, where we were saving Guy from Thargoids, and basically spent. I think we were shooting Thargoids from about 4 in the afternoon till late at night. And we had lots of fun, and that was very silly.
And the people of Guy appreciate it.
Apparently, they have been saved for now.
They have been. Let's just say I've been. Well, I'll come back to that later. We'll go on to Psychit.
Hi.
Hi.
What have I been up to? A little bit of this and that, faffing about in space, tying up some loose ends with as far as getting some little last bits of engineering materials, unlocking some bits. I made a science Corvette. And that's been interesting, but she's just not quite fast enough, so we might be switching to a cutter for science purposes. That's in game. Out of game, watching the F1, enjoying myself wholeheartedly at the absolute goat that is Fernando Alonso. Absolutely adore that human being, and wow, yes. One could argue that should be a car that Sebastian Vettel maybe should have been driving, and it would have been lovely also for Sebastian Vettel. I'm happy for it to be Fernando Alonso as well. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself. And then last night I went to see Katie Tunstall in concert last night.
Oh,
and it was fucking amazing.
Yes,
And
she
my
does
heart
do a very good live show.
Yeah, she really does. I saw her in Bristol like not long after I had my injections on my spine, and when we saw her in Bristol, it was a really, really tiny venue. There weren't that many people in there, and it was just standing room only, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic and beautiful, and it was a great gig, but my back was still very much on the recovery, and we left after about maybe 2/3 of the gig, after listening to a lot of it from outside. But this place was a place with seats, and everybody had a chair, so you could get up and have a little bit of a boogie and then sit back down, and that was crack-a-lacking, and she was amazing, and it was great. But yeah, I've had a bit of a busy week, but not like doing lots of planning and work, actually enjoying myself, which is new for me, and I've enjoyed it.
Excellent. Katie Chaos, please introduce yourself. And
She's been on before, Colin.
I know, but it's been a long while. There are people who might not know who she is, so just no.
Yeah, I'm Katie Chaos. I'm a Elite Dangerous streamer, general nuisance, and to be honest, this week work and real life has been digging into my Elite Dangerous time, which is really unacceptable right now. What time I've had in game, I think I went to go and basically do some Guardian site stuff and pick up some mats, and then massively got distracted and ended up wandering off into the middle of nowhere, just doing exobiology for forever and a day, and that's been about it. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, excellent news. It's funny you should mention that. That's what been on my to-do list for a couple of days, to do the whole Grelic run, but unfortunately my idea has been shot down because people have said, "Oh no, we've already tried that. No point trying it again." Which was to go to the Guardian site, get a Grelic, get a relic, go to a Thargoid site, make it a Grelic, go back to a Guardian site or a beacon and see what happens, because there's supposed to be triangle symbols somewhere, and of course everyone's been excited about blue triangles for some reason.
Nope, not everyone.
But apparently that doesn't work, according to people on the forums when I asked. And they said they were very grumpy about it. Apart from that, I have, again, without Ben, separately from Ben, I've been defending the Guy system. Yeah, we are the knights who save Guy, and yeah, I've gone a bit mad actually. I spent a lot of time doing that. I also went back to my power play commander for the first time in about 6 months, just to do, and I've completely forgotten how to do engineering. I really forgot how to do engineering. I was there wondering, why isn't this engineering working? And it turns out it's only because I had level 1 clearance with Felicity Farseer, and that meant I couldn't get anything better. So I had to fly all the way over to Deciate, build up some reputation, and then I could start getting some decent FDS range, or FSD range rather. And yes, oh, and there's a small matter of yesterday. It was my birthday, so yeah. Moving on from there.
Happy birthday for yesterday, then,
What
Colin.
did you do? What did you do for your birthday, Colin? Happy birthday!
Thank you. Kind of.
Did you have a good birthday? What did you get up to?
Basically, I went and spent a lot of money on a meal, and played a lot of Elite Dangerous in the morning, which was very nice. And yeah, everyone was able to laugh at the fact that I lost 2 crates, but I did end up with sort of like 98 million credits in profit, because there was a fantastic commander in there with me, who was in a arms favourite of a chieftain, and he was going through Cyclopses like a hot knife through butter. I have never seen anything like it. I was lucky to get a couple of shots on it, on these interceptors, before he finished them off. So yeah, it was. So if you want to see how badly I did, it is available on Twitch on the stream. A lot of swearing and a lot of amazement at this other commander's ability. It makes me feel so inadequate and surprisingly so old. So, with that out of the way, the development news. Well, what have the devs been saying this week? Well, on Friday, the 3rd of March, Paul, who Ben likes to refer to as Paul Crowley, I do believe, isn't that supposed to be a black wizard?
He's okay. Ben, do you want to take your time explaining this joke?
He's just a Victorian occultist. And I just, when I keep seeing Paul Crowther, I just jump to Crowley instead, because reasons.
Of course, yeah, there was an Ozzy Osbourne song about Mr. Crowley, wasn't there? Yeah. Again, giving away my age. Right, well, he's given his take on this week's news, which, as usual, is full of the dark sarcasm that you would expect from Paul. Yes, we're well aware of that. There was also the Discovery Scanner that came out on Monday. That just basically summarized everything that we've had for the last couple of weeks, which we've already covered on previous shows. Bruce has unpinned the Thoughts on the Thargoid War thread. He'd like to thank all the commanders for their contribution, and says that the feedback has now been passed back to the dev team, so everybody is... yeah, I think he's actually locked the thread now as well. So, yep, thanks everybody for the feedback. And finally, a little bit of a sad news. Well, from our point of view, Darren, he's leaving Elite Dangerous after 7 years of coding on this game. He is moving on to another project within Frontier. We wish him the best and thank him for we thank you for your service. And I hope he still has enough love of the game to come in and start shooting the rest of us when he feels like it. So yeah, thoughts on the development news, everybody. Let's start. I think we've kind of hit a kind of quiet period again until they start ramping up the news, probably late towards the end of March.
I feel like the Monday development news, when there is a Frameshift Live coming on the Thursday, I always feel like that's the Monday Discovery Scanner. I always feel like that's like a little bit like more chill, if that makes sense. It's like, well, we don't really need to say that much on this one because we've got the Frameshift Live coming up. That's always the impression that I get from it anyway.
Yeah, I think they're saving themselves. I think is probably the best way of putting it.
Mm.
Yes. Right. Okay, well, let's have a quick look at the in-game events of what have been happening this week. Well, the 2nd of March, they have now launched the Caustic Sync launcher, which will aid Maelstrom exploration. Now, this is not something I've got to ask Psychic. I mean, I haven't had any chance to do any of this. Has either you or Katie managed to get hold of one of these Caustic Sync launchers?
I've got like
tried?
15, I think.
Oh,
now.
good. Well, I would have expected that from you.
I haven't used them in combat, but I have used them in Maelstroms.
Excellent. Now, I haven't been able to catch up, so you're going to have to explain how they all work.
Okay, so I will say Apathis has done an amazing like straight away Apathis chucked up a video saying exactly how they work. I'll add it to the show notes. It's cracking, and it shows it gives you a really good straightforward way of seeing it. However, what happens is you can stack as many as you like on your ship. They're also engineerable, so with the same you can engineer them with the same. If you've got heatsink ammo capacity pinned, it's essentially the same pin, so you can do that. You can use that pin, so you don't even need to go to Ramtar to get it done, which is also crack-a-lacking. Nice one. So it's that engineering to do your ammo cap, so you can get 7 plus the one in the canister. Basically, if you put them all on one fire group, if you let all of your caustic sinks fill up and then just release them all at the same time, it will then start filling up all of the caustic sinks again. So you can spend ages, absolutely ages, in the Maelstrom. And I've in my Corvette, which had I want to say 5 or 6 caustic sinks, so 7 times 5, 35, and plus another set, plus another 5. So yeah, a lot of filling time of caustic damage within the sinks. I had to run because an interceptor saw me before my caustic sinks ran out.
Oh, right. So there's still interceptors in there.
Yeah, interceptors. Yeah.
I thought there was just Orthruses in there.
No. There's interceptors in there as well. So you're still, ideally, what you're looking to do is stay away from the interceptors for as long as possible and go and pick up the other shit that's in there, and do like sciencey things. This is my take from it after doing it for like one day. You want to stay away from the interceptors. Do the you can see the trails from the interceptors, so it's not super difficult to miss them. But if you stay away from them, do all of the other sciencey stuff, you're okay. But the build I had just didn't, because it's not quick enough to get away. Realistically, especially when it's mass locked, the Corvette isn't quite quick enough to get away. So that's why I'm going to switch to a cutter which just has the speed edge on it, but still with just as many. So it's really interesting.
It's not got the maneuverability though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's fine. That doesn't matter because you're going very slowly because you're wanting to keep as cool as possible so they're not seeing you. So if I'm going slowly, that doesn't really bother me, not having that maneuverability. A clipper is another option for something that you can take in there, but you're missing out on some of the internals. So like beefing up your hull maybe isn't the best. You're losing lots of internal slots for beefing up the hull, but you want a big ship so you can stay in there for as long as possible with many utility slots.
I understand. Yeah.
So you're sacrificing one thing for something else. It's really fun though.
Yeah, I always get the impression that it feels like you're the Nebula from Star Trek 2, when you got the Enterprise. Oh, I don't know whether that film's too old for you.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I wouldn't be able to recall it straight away.
Oh, right. Okay then.
Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
Hey, of course, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, but you called it Star Trek 2, so people she might associate Wrath of Khan instead.
I mean, it's It's just.
But Star Trek 2's had Khan in it, so you know.
It's like a. It's like if you're flying through a Lagrange cloud, but the Lagrange cloud has got really angry and it's compressed. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. It feels like the Lagrange cloud is really, really angry and
it's out to get you.
Yeah, a lot smaller than what you would normally expect from a Lagrange cloud. And yeah, it's really interesting. It's really fun.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to look at this, Katie? Yeah.
Not as yet. I mean, I did the CG, to try and get one of the syncs, but I've no idea how they work or anything. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest, yet. But yeah, it's having just heard that though from Psychic, I really probably want to give it a bit of time and get back into shooting Thargoids in the face. And also, I've stayed away from the Maelstroms. I'm not even gone near them, I think, since the whole invasion happened. But yeah, I need to go.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I've just been doing alert and invasion systems. I have not gone anywhere near a Maelstrom or a controlled system yet, which is something on the to-do list. But yeah, I'll have to have a look into that. Yes, well, that was the end of the previous week's CG, to be replaced by another CG, which I'm quite relieved about, because normally these CGs they seem to be one every 2 weeks, but we have a call from Stellar Cast Graphics for explorers to look up ammonia worlds. Now, obviously, you hand in your ammonia world survey data for a lot of help, because they're wanting to survey these worlds for potential Thargoid attack points, because that's where the Maelstroms seem to situate around ammonia worlds, which it does seem to be quite interesting. One thing I have noticed, though, in all my experience of flying around plant scanning, it always seems to me that planets with ammonia atmospheres, they do seem to have the most plants on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed that in the last week, I think. I'm getting more biosignals on those planets than any others.
Yeah.
I think I've got quite a lot of data I've picked up recently, so I should go and hand it in for the...
That'll be worth a lot of money right now. Yeah, because I just come across a system, and it was, I think, one solitary gas giant with 5 moons, and 4 of those moons had ammonia atmospheres around them, and on those planets there's 2 moons that have got 7, one that's got 6, and one that's got 5, and I'm there going, oh, this is scanning heaven. So that's going to hold up my trip to Colonia for quite a while.
I mean, a lot of the ones I've come across have had like 7 or 8 on, pretty regular for ammonia. So yeah, and it's really profitable because it's so easy to scan them on, and do that exobiology when you've got that many of them on that particular planet.
Well, thinking about it though, as the Thargoids are ammonia-based, surely there might be a plant-based solution on one of these ammonia moons somewhere.
There's a theory.
There is a theory. But I still want to check out the Grelix first. Anyway, moving on to the 6th of March, the Marlinists have reported they're facing an increasingly grave future. Now, this is the Marlinist faction of about 8 or so systems that were gifted to the Sirius Corporation a long time ago. It seems that slowly those worlds have been taken over by other factions, and now they're getting threatened by encroaching Thargoids. So there's quite a lot of worry within the Marlinist colonies, and there's a lot of debate within the Empire to say whether they should help them, because basically the Marlinists told the Emperor to sod off. We don't need your protection. Along comes the Thargoids, and maybe I need a bit of protection. Anyway, moving on from there, finally today, the Alliance has sent a strongly worded memo to the Kumo crew. Honestly, it's like being threatened by a large lettuce leaf, this. Oh, it's like we have had a long discussion on the committee, and we are about to send you a strongly worded leaflet campaign.
I can imagine what the Kumo crew's response would actually be.
Well, apparently they're getting low on toilet paper. So, but the Kumo crew have been warned, and if they don't behave, they will be warned again.
It feels like they're getting a stern finger wagged at them.
Dalton Chase is like, oh, hiya, lads, I'm still here. Just from, like, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the galaxy, but I also still exist.
Yeah, it's quite nice to actually see the Kumo crew be highlighted again, because basically I think everybody outside of Power Play kind of forgotten they exist, really.
I think I'm pretty sure there's been like a player group or like a player-wide initiative to try and effectively put them into retreat from the systems that they'd entered into. And I think there's a paragraph towards the end of that article that hints towards that player-led initiative to effectively yeet them entirely out of the system, rather than just having them give the stations back.
Yeah. It's it'll be interesting to see what the next move happens, and whether or not they'll still be arguing each other when the Thargoids just wipe them out. So it's like they forget that they're there. I have to point out from Miggles, yes, I am scanning for worlds with ammonia atmospheres, because I know we can't land on ammonia worlds. I'm just pointing out that the ones with ammonia atmospheres seem to have the most life on them, which is unusual. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the progress of the war. At the moment, the Thargoids now occupy 934 worlds, or systems rather. We have 82 systems which are on alert. 58 are under invasion, but we do know that at least one of them is saved. And there are 28 systems in recovery. At present rate, we are still looking at 4 years before the bubble is wiped out. So let's get on with the scanning in the maelstroms, guys. Overall, a little bit more news than usual. Always nice to see a little bit more background happening apart from, well, everything he has to do with the Thargoid War, but there are a little bit things happening as well. So with that, I think we've reached that time of the week again.
Store alert!
Excellent, and welcome back. Well, the opera singer has certainly reached her high notes, because I must admit, these are Anaconda skins that I actually like. These are the Anaconda Vanguard paint jobs, and they come in iron, brass, bronze, copper. I can't even pronounce that one, so I'm not going. Oh, the last two, but purple and green for those of you who are
Hepatizing and verdigris.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Tell you what, though, I mean, the Anaconda's not one of my favourite ships. It's probably one of my least favourite ships, but these are some damn gorgeous paint jobs, to be honest.
They're on the cutter as well, aren't they? It's another one, like a dupe, but the dupe is on the cutter.
Yeah.
The cutter came out a couple of weeks back. Again, it's very nice to see big ships get some love, and not the same 4 or 5 that have been getting more of the attention recently. They're very, very lovely.
Yes, I mean, I'm tempted with. I think I am actually tempted with the copper one, to be honest, for my Anaconda, which I never use.
The verdigris just looks so. The green and the Celtic knot, and it looks towards the front. It looks a little bit like a Welsh spoon, and I'm quite like that.
Now you've said it.
It does, doesn't it? And I just think they're really lovely. It's a good look for Frontier. It's something different as well. This design is really different in comparison to everything else that we've got, right?
I think so. I mean, I do like these patterns that have been appearing over the last few paint jobs or skins that. I don't know. Again, we have to also point out that these are only available in the live server. Mm-hmm. It does seem that only live you get these things in the live server going forward, which is yes. A couple of people are now saying they can only see the spoon now.
Good.
That's Paul Archer.
Good. Good. It's Celtic. It's Celtic AF. So we're all good with that. They're really pretty.
And Okium has asked, have the AXI or Canon implemented a countdown to extinction clock on their websites yet? Because they think that would be a good idea. This is like the doomsday clock, where I think we're about 2 minutes to midnight at the moment.
Apart from saying there is no spoon.
Yes. Which is true, actually, because when you think about it, there is no Anaconda.
I'm still holding out for Pride skins during June. Please, Aftev. Please.
One day, Kate.
One day.
We will keep advocating for it until it happens.
Ben, you're a fan of the Anaconda. Will you be getting one of those? Oh, he's not back yet, is he? Never mind. We'll go catch up with Ben's thoughts on those later. Okay, I think we will take... Oh, good grief, we're rattling through this quite quickly tonight. I think we will take a quick break and come back with some discussion topics later.
Get ready. LAVE Radio.
While the team on Dex Island take a well-earned break before their Series 2 return, there's plenty of material to fill the void. Point your auto assistant to your favourite podcast app, including Spotify and Audible, and search The Dex Legacy. There you'll find bonus edition interviews with cast members and with the writer Emily Inkpen. There's also plenty of bonus materials and merch at www.thedexlegacy.com. All proceeds go towards the making of Season 2.
We all know what it's like. You're busy managing your settlement when suddenly the alarms go off.
Oh no, not again.
That's right. A commander with a Federation naval rank of Admiral, an Imperial King no less, has landed in a ship worth over 100 million credits and is killing all your staff, while they look around for a 10 credit adhesive to glue an upgraded scope to their 100,000 credit assault rifle. They fly away with their super glue and you're left with a problem. How are you going to get your agricultural plant back up and running?
How am I going to get my plant up and running?
How are you going to find staff at short notice?
How am I going to find staff at short notice?
How are you going to deal with all those bodies?
There's bodies everywhere, and they've stained the carpet.
Wonder no longer. Call Aries Crime Scene Cleanup Services.
Hello, I'm Harry from Harry's Mine. After a sudden increase in robberies and murders by commanders since 3307, I've gained valuable expertise in cleaning up bodies, recruiting new staff and restocking stationary lockers. Now you can benefit from my experience. by signing up to our crime scene cleanup service subscription plan.
That's right. For only a small monthly fee, when your settlement alarms are activated, our rapid response cleanup crew will be dispatched, along with our patented Cadaver Scoop 150. The Cadaver Scoop 150 can be mounted to surface reconnaissance vehicles and skimmers to make tidying up your settlement a breeze.
Wow, the bodies are gone.
Our recruitment team has potential new employees on standby across the galaxy, ready to fill your vacant roles in security, logistics, administration, processing, and more.
My plant's operational again. Thanks, Ares Crime Scenes Cleanup Services.
Ares Crime Scene Cleanup Services. We'll have your settlement as good as new before the next ship arrives. Cadaver Scoop 150 disposal bags sold separately. From the makers of the MB5 shaving drone comes the latest impersonal grooming technology. Here at Saracen, we've heard your request loud and clear. You want something new. Applying all the recent technological advances. Introducing the Panther Clipper. Gone are the days of your unruly body hair making you look like a bedraggled alpaca. The Panther Clipper is the biggest, baddest shaver credits can buy. A shave so smooth it'll shave 10 milliseconds off your buckyball time. The new Panther Clipper from Saracen. It's exactly what you've been asking for.
Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Right, this evening we are going to be discussing about loose threads. Now, as we know, a lot of the stuff went on building up towards the Thargoid War, or the Aftermath War, whatever they want to call it, which we're currently stuck in. But on the way there, there's been a few things that have happened that are just left hanging. So I think we will turn to Psychic for this one. Hi, because you love a good bit of speculation.
I do, but I don't. I like the fact that there's still things that are out there that are waiting, or we're still waiting to be resolved. So obviously we're waiting for the Thargoid War to be resolved. We're waiting to find out what's at the center of the maelstroms. And let's be honest, we've covered that a fair amount.
Oh, just say
and speculated on that a fair amount. But there are some other things. There are other things that we're sort of like we're waiting on, or there's things that are in the pipeline which are quite interesting. The first one that the one that is literally just like, I just need to know is where our lovely Sojourner has gone, what she's doing, the artist formerly known as D2, where she is, what she's got going on, and what is this unfinished business that she has with Salvation. There's obviously more with Salvation as well, but just that in itself is a huge sort of like conundrum for me.
Well, what's the fascination? Is it the fact that you think that she's off doing her own private war in the background, or do you think that there's obviously there's connections with the Thargoids, but that seems to be like secondary.
Yeah, I think, mainly because of the whole, if it had been like, I'm going away because I think I've got the answers, that is I've got to work on something. That to me would be less interesting than like this Salvation unfinished business thing, which was the last things that she said. I've effectively got a score to settle, all of that nonsense. And it's like Azimuth Biotech are still just there doing their thing, offering us stuff.
They are.
And it just sort of like plateaued a little bit. Yeah. Get us wrong. We're fighting in the Thargoid War, and it's all fun and games and stuff. But this lack of information from Sojourner. How long ago did she go?
This would have been just, I think, a couple of weeks after the Thargoid War started. That was the funny thing, because she just said, right, okay, I'm off. Just when I thought, right, this is where we'll find out that she can predict Thargoid movements, and it'll all be helpful, and she'll be helpful and a key in the war effort. Only she wasn't. She just disappeared, and that was it. And I thought, oh, it felt a bit anticlimactic, to be honest.
It's over 2 months now. I'm just having a look at it, looking at the article. Mystery surrounds the unexpected disappearance. Who departed the facility that she'd been staying at? What did she say?
Well, what did she depart in? Did she get on an Apex taxi and just go? Did she hijack a ship, or because she didn't have a ship when she joined up with Tezero, did she?
No, she didn't.
Random tinfoil moment. Is she the only one that we know of? Because there could be more like her, I'm guessing, or is she the actual only one who we know?
She's
of
the only one that survived.
Yeah,
that we know of.
Oh no, she's the only one that survived and got away.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes,
because in my head, I'd love it to be some sort of thing about her going to liberate others from Azimuth. Maybe they've got others, and she comes back in a. Oh, I don't know. If she came back with a fleet of hybrids, that would be quite. Awesome.
That'd be amazing.
The thing that got me is, remember Babylon 5, and they had this like White Star sort of fleet thing with this slightly separate freedom fighter type group. Yeah, I would love to see her come back with some sort of like little mini fleet of hybrid ships. That would be quite awesome to deal it to Azimuth, because I think they're lulling us into a false sense of security at the moment, because like you just said there, they're giving us stuff. It's like, what are they planning? Because they're up to something. So.
It's the whistling. It's the sort of just like nonchalantly going about their business and just trying to be like, for example, I'm again looking at this article from January. Initially, I feared that she had been abducted by Azimuth. This is Tessero speaking. Initially, I feared that she'd been abducted by Azimuth operatives sent by the company, which subjected her to such horrific neurosurgical procedures. I didn't need to read that. I just needed to remind you that was a thing. But she offered heartfelt thanks to me and other former Aegis members for our help, but declared, "I have unfinished business with Salvation." So she genuinely did just manage to depart without logging her ID, and then Azimuth used it as an opportunity to say, "Oh, she's unhinged," and then we just haven't heard anything from her for 2 whole months.
Well, she's obviously gone to ground. Because I've gone into the black and hidden, and I think she is. I think I would probably agree with Katie. She's probably looking for other facilities where people like her have been experimented on, and to see whether or not there are people to rescue. Even though I do apologize for this in the chat, but Miss Ericode, that's a blind stab in the dark as usual. They say that all the other test subjects were purged. I guess that we know of.
Yeah.
Do we trust Azimuth about anything?
Well, let's just assume in this instance that Azimuth weren't telling the truth. Let's just assume that they were like some kind of massive cover up. Imagine that.
Azimuth do something dodgy.
Oh no, nothing nefarious. They're squeaky clean.
I like what Commander Miggles has suggested. Is it just me, or am I picturing her unfinished business with her flying to the wreckage in HIB 22460 and doing something horrible to Salvation's corpse?
I think that Salvation's corpse is long gone from 22460. If Salvation's corpse was ever in HIP 22460 to begin with, they are. It is long gone. It is probably Thargoid Scran right now. But that brings us really nicely to something which comes up quite often, like we talk about quite often, or as well, just like randomly. Do we all agree that we're not going to hear from Salvation again?
I think they're regrowing him in a vat. I think Wintermute's in there. I wouldn't. I think we're going to end up with some regrown in a vat.
Oh, Uni's going to do an Emperor Palpatine. He's going to transfer his consciousness into a new clone. Do
you genuinely feel that way, or like do you genuinely feel like he's not gone?
I think it's too much of a plot thing to. I think the Frontier are going to let us stew on that until the
Do you
moment.
think so?
Yeah, I hope he has gone. To be honest,
you hope he has gone, Colin.
I hope he has gone.
Why do you say that?
Gone. Because basically, it just feels like, I don't know. It just feels cheap to bring him back. One of the things I did like about Salome is the fact that they haven't brought her back. She's dead. She's gone. Yeah, okay, nice storyline, but it was there. It didn't end how some people liked, but
I mean, you can't please everyone.
Yeah, can't please everyone, and
all the best sci-fi has cheap, predictable storylines, though.
True.
All the best ones do.
So I've seen a theory knocking around with Salvation about the other lad who didn't win when Sirius won, Utopia. They have there's an ability that Utopia have where they can. It's talked about in the Codex, I believe, of uploading consciences to computers. Or to like that's the computers. So if it were me and if it were in a hope to maybe appease more people, that Salvation, yeah, they're dead, but they're also, their consciousness has been uploaded to a computer, and that's now what's running Azimuth would be interesting. So in the Codex, he talks about Pravnav was mentioning the possibility of incorporating them into a simulated version of the individual or a data ghost that could be interacted with, thereby allowing individuals to enjoy beyond death. And I believe that's word for word from the Codex.
Oh, lovely. So basically, they have recreated digital heaven then.
Well, We're always told whenever we're querying stuff about the game or things along those lines lore and stuff like that is the stuff that we know solidly and we can't, and we're not speculating about, is the stuff that is actually in the game and in the Codex. And the Codex was added to Elite Dangerous in the feeble attempt to try and clarify what is correct lore and what isn't. So if you can find it within
Codex,
within the Codex or within like sites on the game, so like all of the INRA sites and stuff like that, it's in the game. Yes. It's in the game and it's lore. So that's sort of the information that we can go on, and I think it's a really interesting angle. It was something that Katie and I were chatting, not Katie Chaos, but my sister Katie were sitting and talking about the other day, was all about this, and she mentioned that the AI behind it is called the Acheron. I think I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but the Acheron interface, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ben has a fantastic theory that that's exactly what all the commanders are. Actually, we're just brains in a jar, remote controlling bodies and ships.
Yeah, I've always loved the idea of us just being brains in a jar. Although, I guess Odyssey throws that away on the assumption that we are our avatars, and they're not like skin jobs or something like that.
Easy.
Oh no, don't. Just don't.
What's wrong with going to a Battlestar?
Katie's just put in the chat there, sentient AI is banned apparently, so
Oh,
yes, that is correct.
Sentient AI is banned, but what happens if you? Well, Katie's here. Oh, you're
different Katie.
Which? Oh, you're Katie. Oh, your other
Yeah,
Kate.
yeah.
Oh, well, too many Katies. Jesus.
The other Katie.
Yeah, the other Katie.
But I
Is
mean,
it
whether it's banned
AI?
or not.
Yeah. Is it AI if it's a real human's encoded consciousness?
It's really interesting. It's a really interesting theory, isn't it? Especially with the groundwork having already been done in game. I find it it's super interesting. It's also sort of like on the cusp of being illegal or not being illegal. So as Dior says, absolutely exactly up Salvation Street. So yeah, I don't know.
It's the same kind of technology that created Cortana, because Cortana is an AI, but she was created from a human brain. Or am I getting mixed up here?
I'll take your word for that.
I thought Cortana was Windows' bad AI thingy bobber.
Oh my goodness! Am I the only one that's played Halo?
No,
I guess I must be.
I've not played Halo, no.
Well, right.
I've played Halo 1 many years ago when it was out on Mac OS.
Oh dear, you are such a glutton for punishment. You really are.
Hey, Halo was written by Bungie, as you all know, and Bungie was originally a Mac studio, and then Microsoft bought them and says, "Ha! You're ours now, and you will release all your games only on Xbox. Deal with it." And they were like, "But we've got this game ready to release on Mac OS," and Microsoft were like, "Yeah, we know that. That's why you're releasing only on Xbox, and you're going to report your game to the Xbox and deal with it."
Yeah.
Not that I was bitter at the time.
DL42 likes to point out the reason that Windows 10 Cortana was called Cortana was because of Halo Cortana. Because,
okay, I never knew that.
Yes, there was a lot of people.
The more you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who applied Rule 32?
Let's not. Please not 34.
Yeah, Rule 34 to Cortana, which, yeah.
I thought you've only learnt about that in like the last year. I'm so proud of you for actually using it in a sentence as well, Colin. That's so great.
Hey, I'll be using compound verbs next, you know.
Amazing. I'll be so proud of you.
Right. God, how much more sarcasm could you put in one sentence?
Oh, I could certainly try.
Yeah, go for the whole full-blown, oh, bless your heart. Yeah, why not? Jeez. Anyway, back to where were we? We
were speaking about shoving Salvation's brain into like a ghost. What's it?
A Futurama jar.
Yeah. Data ghost. Enjoying beyond death. Ugh.
And if sentient AI was illegal, do you think that's going to stop Azimuth?
Absolutely not.
For all we know, Azimuth is run by an AI.
Well,
Ooh.
I mean, Torben. I don't think Torben's got an ounce of personality in his little
finger.
His little finger. Jeez.
Is that why maybe you think he's an AI?
I don't think he's an AI. I just think he's boring. Utopia argues that since the human being remains at the core of the process, the Echeron interface is not artificial intelligence. So that's its argument. I'm sure there's arguments against data ghosts.
Yeah,
but, I mean.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory because up until then, this is brand new information for me because I didn't realize that Utopia had that technology to basically flash print your brain and create a consciousness artificially. Because that's one of the things that I've always liked, that it's not in Elite Dangerous.
I mean, that's all that Utopia is that.
Oh,
it's just beyond death kind of stuff. So yeah, cool.
Right, well, to tell you the truth, now that I know that technology exists in Elite Dangerous, yeah, Salvation's alive and they've shoved him on the hard drive somewhere.
I think
You've completely changed my mind in approximately, half an hour.
I think also because it's like the leading companies, and if there's a company that's doing something about Sirius, if you put Sirius into the same league as the Utopia and Panavanto and all of that nonsense, like Sirius, they're the kind of company that will get into bed with Azimuth easily. What's not to say that the other group will, exactly. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting about that. I mean, one of the things that I have been hearing from other podcasts and other people is that they've been. Is it just me, or have they been updating the photos of the power leaders?
Yes. I've seen new. We definitely saw a new
Ashling one.
A new Ashling for sure. Was it a new Alliance chap? We've literally talked about him today. The one who's like, "Oh hi, I'm still here."
Yeah.
Was there a new one of that today?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't logged in yet today, which is it's on my to-do list.
I'll have a look on. I'm not obviously. I'm not in game right now, but there might be something on the old newsy woos.
Yeah, because I say this.
Where do you want me to look? Sorry, in Galnet or on Powers?
On Powers.
Or on Galnet, on the Alliance. I don't think the Alliance sends one warning to Kumuk who had one.
Okay,
but
let's go to Powers.
I swear there was a new one from somewhere not too long ago.
Now, Beetlejuice says that they've done a new one in Mahon, and they've used it twice. So
Galactic Powers, there we go.
Yeah.
Mahon, there he is. No, that's the same as ever.
That's the same.
It's in the Galnet articles. It's like a looking up. I think it's just looking up at him.
Yeah, because normally in the Galnet articles, they take the same image and just all superimpose them on one another. So, but yeah. Because one of the things that I think the Burp and Guard Frequency they've been discussing lately is because they are looking at different power photographs and things. They think that power play is going to be the next big thing, with possibly Azimuth and D2 turning up as new powers, which does, well, if it means that power play is getting an overhaul, that sounds great to me.
I mean,
but
I'd be incredibly surprised.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just following what other people are speculating.
No, absolutely, and it's an interesting piece of speculation. But
I mean, personally, I don't think power play's on the list as much as I'd love it to be. I don't think that's something that I think they're barking up the wrong tree with it. But
I would be super impressed if that is if something that comes out. I feel like it would need to be incredibly engaging.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because power play as it is needs an overhaul.
Yeah.
It would have to be something that would, like the Thargoid War, it would have to grab people in the right way, and it would have to get people enthusiastic about wanting to actually fight other players. Because to tell you the truth, when I have played power play, and I played it for approximately 2 years. The only thing that stopped me playing it was the Thargoid War. The little communities, I'll say this unfortunately, the little communities are very dedicated. They love the power play. And when you get involved in a three-way scrap over a system, it's actually quite engaging. It's like Lou all over again, which is great. But then you get these problems where you can now they just ban people's best players using the block function, which really causes a problem. And yeah, but yeah, we're not.
So let me ask you a question on the back of that. As a seasoned power play player, would adding more power play leaders help that, or will that just muddy the waters further? Do you think?
No, because I think if they do bring these two characters, the speculation that the other people have got is that these two would come in as new powers, but it would be linked with new mechanics that will build on what's there. Because actually, the thing about power play is that if they could find a way to generate, so you're not doing constant deliveries, more variety in the gameplay, and making it imperative that it can be, you get distinct advantages going in open. Because I'm not going to say open only, because there are people out there that, well, would they be scared of that? But if it was, you got advantages playing in open over solo or private, then I think it could actually be the next Thargoid War. Because once the Thargoid War has played out, you're still going to need something to keep people going.
I think it's a way of tying it in. I mean, bringing it in might be a way of tying it in with whatever the new narrative is, like the Thargoid War. Would that be a way of levering the community to engage with it?
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine it if all of a sudden the Thargoids, blue Ganymede, no, you're as bad as Ben. No, can you imagine it if sort of D2 suddenly became the Thargoid Queen? And then that's it. The Thargoids become their own little power over on one end. And you get Azimuth on the other side, they hack into the Guardian technology, and then they become powers within themselves.
I can't see that many commanders being like, oh yeah, absolutely, let's go and work with D2 and all of the Thargoids, because she doesn't come across, in everything that she said prior, she doesn't come across as someone who is pro Thargoid per se. She was telling us that there was something really bad coming. That was like one of the last things before she went off in January and buggered off everywhere. Her thing was like, I'm going to make myself known. I'm going to show where I am, and I'm going to I've come out of hiding to tell you that this is a bad thing, and there are bad things about to happen, and you've gone done fucked it with the Thargoids, and they're going to kill you.
Yeah, the thing that I've always thought about D2, I mean, it's nice that she's able to pick these things up, but it could be a two-way connection. She could sense these things about the Thargoids, but the Thargoids could definitely sense things about her if she's got this connection, and also take control.
In which case, that's great. she can be gone for another 2 months in that case.
I think she's going to turn up at a particularly opportunistic moment and ride him from the sunset and save
Big Friendly Button
in some big occurrence. It might be some certain plot device that happens, and she's going to turn up and be the savior, not the salvation, but the savior.
So it's Gandalf at the end at Helm's Deep. Then
that type of moment.
She's going to be so the white instead of so the grey.
Wintermute raises a good point. D2 could just be Elite Dangerous's equivalent of Anna Sheridan.
Yeah.
You're going to have to explain that to me as someone who's never seen whatever sci-fi show that's referring to.
Katie, would you like to bring it up, seeing as you were talking about this? Okay, it's from Babylon 5, and Anna Sheridan was the captain of the station's wife, who went off to investigate Babylon 5's version of Thargoids, and then
spoiler alert to anybody who's not seen Babylon 5
spoiler alert for a 30-year-old show, yeah. And then showed up at the height of the war saying, "Hey John, I'm back, how you doing?" And then he was like, yeah, what are you doing right here? And then he noticed, oh, hold on, you've got some biotech shit in you. And she'd been manipulated by Thargoids.
I mean, okay.
Well, by shadows, but yeah.
Okay, so like they had put that into her. It wasn't like
Yeah, they
it
put
wasn't
that
odds
into our-
going. Let's pump you full of
this is
steroids.
Well, I'll put it this way: both of the people we're talking about here didn't go into it voluntarily. Put it that way.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
You know, I think
interesting.
in B5 you could argue the shadows weren't fully to blame, and humanity are a bunch of dicks there as well.
I mean, we have president.
Yeah, humanity being dicks, who'd have thunk it?
We can't even get along with each other. What do you expect us to get on with another race?
Apparently, it's quite funny that we are exactly the opposite of the Guardians, apparently, because the Guardians started off very, very peaceful, according to Ramtar, but then got warlike due to their conflict with the Thargoids, so much so that when they did develop the AI went, "Oh, you're too warlike then, let's kill you off."
And then there's the Guardians.
And that's yet another Babylon 5. Sorry, Katie, go.
Sorry. Yeah, one of the Guardians going to come into it as well.
Are they?
I
That's
get a feeling.
I hope the Guardians come into it in some way or form.
Oh yeah, I mean, judging by the hints that people are think that they're getting.
It's trolls. It's
we
trolls.
we do like blue triangles.
We really do not give a shit about big triangles. Do not include me in that way, Ben.
You've got to be careful of blue food coloring.
You know what? I am going to be watching the live stream this time and just seeing what silly symbolism they're going to try and shove in there to get people wound up in knots.
If it was important, if it were important, they would put it in game, because they've had enough backlash about that before, about having things out of game.
Oh, but does like trolling us.
Some people managed to get 20 minutes of content over just the fact that Tom had his hands in a triangle.
Oh yeah, no, that was 100% troll. If it turns out that wasn't a troll, I'm going to go and knock on a door in Cambridge and say I need to have words.
Yeah.
All right. No, we were hoping you're going to say you're going to eat your own hat.
No, I'm not.
Like that.
I mean, let's face it. We're going to be able to wreck on a triangle into fucking anything, aren't we? Because it's a three-sided shape.
Yeah. Remember though when they did that spoiler by having a post-it note on the bottom of the coffee mugs.
Oh God!
Oh,
yeah.
when they the Galnet thing coming back. When they had the post-it note and they drank from the cups at the end, and that was
at the same time. Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. That was amazing.
It was hilarious.
I will say in response to the potential for the Guardians coming back, how long ago did because a lot of the Guardian stuff has had a graphical rework, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's had to, because in the Odyssey engine, for some reason, it looks, in the original Odyssey engine, it looked awful.
That was post Odyssey because it looked crap, rather than it being something that they've deliberately put into the game.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, this is one of the few things which I think the Legacy version does better than Odyssey is the stuff around the Guardian ruins.
I don't know. I was there literally yesterday, and it was beautiful.
No. I only meant right at the very beginning, because there's been graphical updates since then. But if I was actually there for the first flip over, so I went out to a Guardian beacon, and in Legacy the Guardian beacons were unbelievably atmospheric and scary and looked genuinely alien. But when you went into the Odyssey engine at that time, it looked very very bare bones.
Okay.
A lot more primitive, and there wasn't all the shading and things like that.
There's a lot of particle generation and stuff now, which is really it's really pretty, and it was so smooth.
Yes, I mean, it's funny this, because I still get people commenting when I'm streaming about the fact that they won't touch Odyssey when I'm telling them that actually this is Odyssey. I'm not playing in Legacy anymore, and you can see it's back to where it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it was really, really apparent on the Guardian bases, just like how smooth it was. I'm having a look at my my little sort of like preview screen, the little tiny one that I have, and I was just like, that just looked so much smoother than I've seen anything in Odyssey for a really long time. And there were a couple of folks sort of like commenting on it as well, and I was
Yeah. I mean, going up. I mean, one of the reasons that I like going around the Thargoid and the Thargoid and the Guardian sites is because they are very, very atmospheric. You definitely feel as if you're in an alien environment, and I love that. And so the way that they've managed to improve these sites is worth visiting again now in Odyssey, using the Lave/Odyssey engine.
Oh, definitely.
Also, if you're building more anti-Xeno ships and you need shard cannons, you need a module blueprint for every single one of them. The Daddy Savron ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do, don't you?
So go back, take your time, go and make a module. And I'm sure we'll need modules. Now we probably won't need module things because they'll probably degrade, and then we won't be able to use them anyway because we'll be in Maelstrom.
Yeah, well, I need to get Grelix anyway. I think we have the other thing that's been sort of left hanging is the Grelic, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
And yeah, I think personally, I think the Grelics are probably going to be used as some kind of I don't know. Munition. You need to basically top up with Grelics to fire these new guns or something like that. It'll be using the manufacturing process of something.
I think it's going to be foot stuff.
You reckon?
I think it's going to be Odyssey stuff that the Grelics are needed for.
Yeah.
I think my hope upon hope is that the Grelics are required for foot stuff, because then what it's doing is it's giving us a really, really nice sphere of gameplay. You need to go into your SLV to get these items. You need to go take your SLV into the Thargoid base to be able to get the stuff to be on foot.
Yes. I mean, the one thing that we're hoping that will come is Thargoid interaction or some extra interaction on foot.
Yeah. It has to. There's no way that it's not going to come. They didn't make all of Odyssey for us to be flying around in our ships fighting Thargoids. I cannot.
No. Do you think the conversation around that has got quieter since all the shoot Thargoids in the face things kicked off?
Yeah, because
it seems to have died down a little.
To be honest, I mean, space content was one of the things that everybody was wanting after Odyssey came along, because one of the things that I think a lot of people were wanting when Odyssey came along was more space content in addition to what the on-foot stuff.
Oh, sure, 100%. They're not gonna. So again, we can't please everyone. We know this. We're very aware of that. There is not pleasing everyone. However, Frontier have made this whole on-foot dynamic to Elite Dangerous, and now it isn't. There's no there's nothing Thargoid related with regard to it. They've now brought in a whole Thargoid war, which is fantastic. But I haven't walked out of my ship since January. I've been sat down since January, and I haven't walked around. And with the exception, I think I got out once just to like take a picture or a screenshot at some point,
Yeah.
So it would, for me, it would be great if this full circle of flying somewhere, grabbing the relics, flying somewhere else, turning them into relics, and then flying them to hand in to a tech broker who will then give you here is one Thargoid armor piercing weapon on the back of that. I just think that would be a really beautiful way to bring every element of
the game together.
Game together.
Makes a lot of sense because it would make it, like you say, it would be more of a seamless sort of experience then. Rather than it being space combat and on foot stuff, it would just be the whole package.
And then we have to fly to do whatever we need to do to get to the center of the maelstroms, get all of that nonsense, and then land in the center of the maelstroms, and then say hello to my little friend. Shoot. All of that is a beautiful full circle, taking in every element that it possibly can for Elite, and taking into account all of the different war states. Ideally, that is my perfect resolution for all of that.
Actually, I've got one more.
Go on, then.
What I would love to see is basically Thargoid invasions of Odyssey settlements, but it's not only Thargoid foot soldiers, but something that only an SRV can take out. So that means that the Scorpion comes into its own, and you also get an anti-Xeno Scorpion.
And like lots of multiplayer aspects as well. Like sure, if you want to do it on your own, if you want to do stuff on your own, there might be stealth aspects to it. But also like this big multiplayer focus as well, because I feel like a lot of stuff has been leaning to that now, but I can't see
what I think would be a good thing for these things to happen is in systems which are close to invasions, that you now get new scenarios in what's the mercenary organization called?
Frontline
Solutions order ask for group battles for your team against the Thargoid battle zone, and it won't be the same kind of conflict zone that we're used to. It's just going to be constant and players versus NPCs, full PvE.
This would have to be in like a maelstrom though, because there's no impetus at the moment. There's no reason why a Thargoid would want to get out of their ship at a settlement, because they're already kicking our ass without having to get out of there.
Yes, but I mean, there is. You could have them actually wanting to destroy the settlements completely. We haven't had that point where settlements are destroyed and wiped off the map. Settlements and stations still exist; they're just unusable.
I think their main focus would be wiping the things who were shooting the guns first. And they seem to be doing a good enough job of that without having to leave their ships. There's no last stand happening from the ground. There's no reason for a Thargoid to get out of their interceptor and come and wander around a base on their own and get hampered on. We have to be on the back foot. If we're attacking them on foot, it has to be at our risk as opposed to at the Thargoid's risk. I hope I'm making sense.
No, you make complete sense, because Tuplex has just quoted aliens as, which is basically destroy settlements, nuke it from orbit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like it's clear when these settlements are abandoned, they're abandoned. None of the like 18 people who are at a settlement are going to be like, we're going to make our last stand here while we're waiting for the Thargoids to go. The settlements with like between 15 and 20 people just walking around, they'll be the first things to get abandoned, so they can get back with their families in the Coriolisuses and be like, I would like to leave, please.
Yeah, definitely. Apex taxis are doing surge pricing just to escape.
Yeah. But that, like, we can't, unless I'm very much mistaken, and in on settlements you can do passenger missions from settlements to remove people. And I don't think, like, not from big planetary bases. I'm talking about like little Odyssey settlements where you can see a mission board. I'm pretty sure it's only a mission board that you get in those places rather than a passenger thing, because it's only like 15 people who are at those bases.
You know what would be nice to see at some point? You're talking about things like that in settlements, and the LV426 comment in chat. if there were abandoned settlements that had a story behind them as well, so maybe we got logs and things like that within an abandoned settlement that gave, I'm not talking about all of them, but occasional ones, maybe something that would be great to see in a plot.
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing where you have to. I mean, yeah, in one of these Odyssey settlements, they could say that there is a MacGuffin there that we'd like to retract, and you and your guys have to go there, but the Thargoids are already there.
Or trying to get to it as well in this, in that the protect and thieve mission.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, those kind of.
The new missions that they brought in quite recently, those ones you mean? That would make perfect sense.
It would, wouldn't it?
That would be something that they could build on for sure. I'm pretty sure they might have mentioned that we're laying the groundwork so that things can be built on later.
Yes,
that might be interesting, but that might be also be interesting in like you need to go and we need to try and secure something in this particular section, or like this a section, a realm of a maelstrom as well, and then there's that to it. Oh, it's really interesting.
Rescuing settlers from directly on foot as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of possibilities there, and we'll just have to wait to see what update 15 and 16 brings us. I mean, I'm hoping for on-foot combat at some point against Thargoids, or some on-foot interaction there.
I love how we spent a good section at the beginning going, we're not going to talk about the Thargoid War and the loose ends there, and we've just spent like 20 minutes talking about it because it's really cool.
And let's be honest, it is the big thing at the moment.
It is a thread that is indeed loose currently.
No, there's nothing to do. Dead game.
Dead game, mate. It's a dead game.
Dead game, yeah. Completely. Oh yeah, I saw that there was a Doom thread attached to it because we've been saying, right, that's it. We've worked out that the Thargoids can wipe out the human bubble in 4 years if it keeps going. It says, right, that must be how the Frontier are going to shut the game down then. They're just going to let the Thargoids roll over the rest of us, and that'll be the end of the game.
I feel like even if they did let the Thargoids roll all over us, because I don't think they're going to, because as these maelstrom areas of attack get bigger and bigger and wider, it's going to be the case that there's going to be a less stronger force on the outer sides. It has to be. There's not an indefinite amount of Thargoids to be able to constantly fight. So it's going to have to feel weaker on the outside. That said.
Yeah, but that actually then limits the threat, because that says, right, okay, the Thargoids get weaker as the further they go. There'll be a point where they can't go any further, and that would be the extent of a bubble around a maelstrom.
Or it gets slower.
Or what if these maelstroms are all that's left of the Thargoid race? Maybe they did that because they saw what happened with Salvation and that weapon. They thought they've got to react to it because they're going to be extinct otherwise. Maybe they're a dying race and this is their last push, but that's another thought.
Okay, that's nice.
Random tinfoil.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought, but I don't think they're running out of any Thargoids soon, because
they have
killed billions so
They've
far.
also teased more maelstroms. They've been talking about recent Galnets have mentioned the possibility of more maelstroms coming.
Yeah, and also the fact that D2 translated the messages, "We've heard you, we're sending help."
Yeah. I mean it's perfectly reasonable to assume that they don't just have 8. They may be these multiples of 8, and we might be looking at them, but there's definitely more than 8 Thargoid and 8 different types of interceptor in any one spot. So
yeah, I do wonder if what happens is that we wipe out 8, but there's always going to be at least 1 left, and then that will be there for people who want to get involved in that kind of from going forward.
Just so that this doesn't go away.
Yeah, because that was what's supposed to happen in the original game. In the original Elite, apparently there was supposed to be massive battles between the humans happening off screen. You didn't see that. The main naval battle fleets were engaged with the Thargoids outside of the game, and occasionally the Thargoids would be able to slip through a scout, because that's exactly what they were, from what we've seen.
Yeah.
None of the big battle cruisers or high ships got through to the humans. And that went on in the original game for 200 years, and there was no sign of it ever being resolved. And then the whole thing with Jameson and how that was resolved came along in Frontier. And of course, all that kind of stuff is kind of retconned.
What do you mean it's kind of retconned? Why would it be retconned?
Well, we know that the war happened for the first Thargoid War. That happened for what was it, 100 years?
Right. I can't remember. I know it ended with, well, they went into retreat after Jameson did his.
After the Mike Pirates hit, yeah. So they've disappeared. They've obviously retreated from this sector, from the human sector, and then only when the humans and Azimuth a couple of hundred years ago rediscovered some Thargoid stuff did it all begin to kick off again. So we've had about 1,000 years of 500, 600 years of peace, and then all of a sudden they're back.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing to say that they weren't sort of like building, having a lovely, peaceful, fun time.
Yeah. And there's a whole load of stuff in other novels about them being two factions, but as you said,
it's not a game. That's not.
It is not on the Codex.
It's not a retcon. It's just not in game.
Yeah. So until we suddenly see things in the Codex explaining Thargoid society, yeah.
I mean, there is a lot about Thargoids in the Codex. By all means, go ahead and read it. They talk an awful lot about Thargoids. Honestly, if there was there's a whole section devoted to them. If there was anything about finding out that they had multiple factions and things like that, it would 100% be in there, and it isn't.
Okay, well, we're going to stop the Thargoid War discussion at the moment. There's one final thing that I would like to bring up, and that's space dredges.
Comes out of absolute left field with the space dredges.
Space dredges again. Actually, there's two things. What's happened to the? Okay, Ben, we can bring that in later if you want. But yeah, the space dredges, the space dredger clan, they've disappeared, as have the generation ship people who got an upgraded generation ship, and they've disappeared as well.
Yeah, the Golconda.
The Golconda. Do you think we'll ever see them again?
Yes. I don't think we're going to see the ship whole again, but I think we're going to. We're going to.
You're going to think we're going to discover a destroyed Golconda?
I was genuinely expecting that the Golconda would be a big broken ship that it would have a similar effect to the pink ship, the Kingfisher. Was that it? Whatever the pink. Yeah, whatever the pink ship was called. It was that one.
Yeah, the ones that go out there and
the ones that went out and did all the flashy lights, and the Thargoids went, "Hi, we're going to eat all of you. Thanks for the dinner on the way."
Yeah,
those ones.
Do boom.
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't just have the Golcondans have a happy ending, could we? There couldn't be one that was a happy ending.
I'm hoping that the Golcondans that are out there mapping parts of the galaxy that we hadn't thought of visiting and just having a wonderful time.
Having a wonderful time, and then they stumble upon that ammonia world, and then they're like, "Oh no."
I think we're going to see him again, and I think we're going to see him again maybe in One Piece still, but I don't know. I think that's something that's probably been kept in the back pocket for a future line.
No, we're going to find it again, but there'll just be one piece left.
or it'll be It'll be an abandoned ship. We'll find it somewhere, and it'll just be abandoned, all in one piece.
I just want to, like, if we can find pieces of the Golconda, like, pieces or a whole ship abandoned. Sure, I'll happily have a whole ship abandoned. Why not? But as long as we've got lore, around it and some things that we can listen to, that's great.
How about this? How about this for an interesting thought? How about we find the Galconda that's been abandoned? We can board it using our Odyssey commanders and then explore the Galconda, discovering clues to what's happened, and then you get attacked by Thargoids on the Galconda.
I mean, I don't think the Golconda has landing pads.
Oh, why do you have to spoil it?
I'm sorry to have been to the Golconda before it buggered off, but I'm relatively sure it doesn't have landing pads, so we won't have an opportunity to do that.
We don't know what they've done to it since then.
Who knows? That could have been one of the things that the Dredger clan did just before it went, oh, by the way, we've just installed a couple of landing pads. I mean, you're probably not going to need them, but just in case.
Yeah, but just to be cruel, they'll just make their small landing pads. So there's only one or two of you that can arrive at a time. Oh dear. Yeah, but
drip feed commanders onto the Golconda.
Right to the Golconda for a free anaconda.
Oh my god.
Right, that's a good one. That's up there with going to Hutton Orbital for the free anaconda when we know it's 100 credits.
Where I don't even know which way it went when it
No, nobody does.
Did anyone? Yeah.
It just sort of like it was there one day, gone the next. To be fair, it could be anywhere really because it's got fleet carrier technology.
Oh, this is one thing that confused me. I mean, I can understand the generation ships. They're using old fusion torch technology. They're all sublight. Is it the same with the space dredgers? Because I was under the impression that the space dredgers use the same technology, but then they said they upgraded the Galconda to use modern frameshift technology so it could jump.
Maybe those dredgers who upgraded the Golconda use the modern frameshift technology because they're the fixer-uppers and the fix-it people. But potentially it's the other ones. The other ones are still trudging along, chilling out. These ones that fixed up the Golconda were... I mean, if they're eating spaceships, they have a lot of technology at the fingertips to retrofit and clean up and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
I take it back, Colin. That was quite interesting.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing because everybody's got their one little thing that's hanging that you want to find out about. You want to find out about D2. I want to find out about the space dredgers because I've always been fascinated with space dredgers when they were first mentioned in the original game. Ben, is there something out there that you wish a loose thread for you to grab and hang on to?
Not really. I just like to fly around.
I love it, Dan.
Yeah, fair enough. Katie, did you say that the Galconda is the one that gets you? Oh, no, that's Katie Anna.
No, that's the other Katie.
Yes, there's the other Katie. Sorry. In that case, Katie, is there something that a loose thread that you like to grasp hold of?
Oh, I don't know. We've talked about a lot of them. Here's a really random loose thread.
Okay.
All those alternate galaxies out of the original Elite then that don't exist anymore.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
I jump between different galaxies, but that's a really random one that I've pulled from decades.
Yeah, I think that's
Ben,
just different parts of this galaxy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be my thing as well. But with less cat people for some reason, and I can't think why.
Yeah, I was
Too many dogs?
I was under the impression that the galactic hyperdrive was actually a hyperdrive that would take you to a certain part of the present Milky Way galaxy. So instead of there being 8 separate galaxies, there's 8 sectors of the galaxy that you would jump in between.
I mean, that would certainly make a lot more sense. But, you know, we are playing a sci-fi game, so who knows?
But where's that tech?
It was lost with the same tech that was the magical fuel that Galcop used that could always jump you 7 light years.
Fair point.
Because Galcop everything was based around Lave originally, and then
and then everybody got wise to why that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, when they lost the formula for the Lave petrol, that was the end of it.
There's a good one in the chat. Tuplex, the Sinister graveyards, you know, that were mentioned.
Oh God, yeah.
That would be awesome.
The amount of times people have gone on about that, and see, the thing is that what gets me is that it would be really easy just to put in.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me is technically that's only been mentioned in the first book, and as we were saying earlier, if it ain't in, it ain't in.
It ain't in.
Actually, no. Is there a beacon there now or something?
Well, no, there isn't even a beacon because when they put the in memorandum beacon, one of the places where
I thought there was a tourist thingy-bobber somewhere.
I thought there was a beacon, yeah.
There is something, and that's to do with premonition, because there's a whole load of beacons which have to do with the True Waker book Premonition. That is in there. Now, there's a whole load of other stuff in the Premonition book that doesn't seem to be in the game, but yeah.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say that Frontier might not grab information from the books and put it into the game at a later date. But at the moment, if it isn't in the game, it's not considered canon.
Yeah, I mean, there was a beacon there during the Salome event, so it would have explained what Salome would have done had she survived. But that was not to be.
So it's Schrodinger's canon, basically, is what you're saying. It was there one time and then it isn't there anymore.
I think it's still there, to be honest.
Okay.
We're getting told by Van Otter that the mysterious Galcop fuel was called Quirium. Sounds a bit rude. And that killed that conversation, right?
I was trying to understand why it sounded rude, but I chose not to consider that.
Right.
Probably for the best.
I will say it's really important to let everybody know that ED, the main thing that fuels Elite Dangerous, is Quirium and not Quirium. Oh yeah, pride flags.
I'm right.
Oh, brought back to that.
I just want a pride flag in Game Elite. That's my biggest hanging thread. I need it to be multicolored. I need it to be in a specific rainbow, and I want it to be on my ship.
I definitely want pride flags on ships. Thank you. In June, please.
Cheers, Elite. Thanks very much.
Didn't I see something about that with Amazon and people moaning about having trans?
Don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. They can fuck off. Don't give a shit.
And if they want to donate some of the money they sell from those skins to like charities of that lot,
that would be very
fantastic,
simple, wouldn't it? Yeah,
that would be fantastic. I've only been you people who did stuff with that.
Yes, because you happen to work for a charity of that particular type. Okay.
Sorry, Colin, I derailed you entirely. Then my apologies.
Sorry.
Yeah, we derailed so much for Thomas the Tank Engine branch line to Tangent Town. So there we go.
Not sorry.
Absolutely not sorry at all in the slightest. I don't even know why I said it.
Right. Moving on. I think we're going to tie up all the loose ends right now and come back to them at a later point.
When they get resolved, we'll do little ding ding bell systems and we'll be dancing around going, we've got a loose end resolved.
Well, that's one thing. We've now got this on record, and if they ever do get resolved, we'll come back and basically laugh at people for getting them very, very wrong. Yes. So let's pop over and see what's in the community corner this week. Well, we have the Highwake. It has managed to do an animation compilation for the last, 10 or 20 that he's done. If you want to have 10 minutes worth of Highwake, we will put a a link in the show notes for you to catch up. And, it's a high week.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Let's watch more of his content.
Yes.
Yeah, enjoy that content.
Yeah. What surprised me was, even though I've seen all this stuff, I think there was stuff I didn't remember.
There's lots of things that
no, but those
are
whole
always
videos
worth
I
a
didn't
second
remember.
watch as well.
Yeah.
As
He
you
just
keep
embeds
saying,
so
Ben,
many
you've
little
slept
things.
since then, so
Yeah. Or not slept since then, and I should have slept.
true.
Yeah. But he's got so many little details in there, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I finally caught up with the LCU No Fool Like ones.
Oh God!
Video. And if apart from the singing, the actual visuals though, unbelievable.
What's wrong with the singing?
Obviously, do you have trouble with your hearing, Katie? I just wondered.
Pardon?
That answers my question. In addition, Frame Shift Live as coming this Thursday. It's featuring the Anti-Xeno Initiative this week. So obviously they will be picking up Thargoid killing hints. Now, normally Frontier, when they've been doing these kind of things, they're not that good at killing Thargoids, because I remember Will and Stephen trying that, and basically, yeah, it was like the Keystone Cops, really.
I noticed their community carriers over by Maya as well.
Yeah, so hopefully the AXI will be able to coach, I think it's Sally and Bruce this week, in various ways of dealing with the pulverizing pansies, as the birds like to call them. Right, next up, well, I've put in a little short story on the forums. If you've ever wondered what's been happening to the Sanctimonious crew, the latest Sanctimonious story is up on the forums. We'll put a link in the show notes so that all you can find out what's been happening there. There's also...
It's the Sanctimonious stuff. Is that canon?
No, because Colin wrote it.
Oh, right.
It's not. Again, it's still not in the game, Ben. What part of it? What part of it is you're struggling with now?
I've seen the Sanctimonious in game. I've flown with it.
I feel
it must be real.
I feel like you're trying to get a rise out of me for something, or Ben, and all you're doing is making yourself look foolish.
I'm just winding Colin up here.
Ben, I quite agree with Psychic. Unless Frontier takes one of those stories and put it in the game, it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to deflate you. All of a sudden, everybody's getting an image of airplane in their head right now. So it's just wrong. So, yes. In other news, we've got a Lego Orphan Bruce. Has anybody else seen this?
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They've been legalized.
I love the green screen of it as well.
Yeah. Psychic.
Hi.
You've been busy on the YouTubes.
Yep. Well, it's just like I try and put them out every Monday. I totally forgot to upload it yesterday, so I uploaded today. It's the second Tickle Me Thargoid advert went out with visuals. It's my favorite one so far. It's dark and silly and kawaii as fuck, and I love it.
It's so dark. I was really creeped out by it. I was like,
no. So my sister Katie drew the Thargoids. Like this is completely not interesting information at all. But she was giving me like these little images of different little kawaii faces on these Thargoids, and I was like, no, we want one where it's even more afraid and even more upset. So yeah, that's what I do with my time.
Oh dear.
As long as you rip out the hearts using the tool, we're fine, and then you have to make sure that you smash its face in.
And did these? I haven't had a chance to catch up with this yet. I take it the Thargoids in this question look really cute.
Oh yeah, it's kawaii as fuck.
Isn't there a game called The Two of Us where you have to destroy a really cute toy that's perfectly innocent?
That's a spoiler for right towards the very end of yeah, I think it's called The Two of Us. Me and my husband played through it. It gets dark.
Yeah. That's okay. Apologies for the spoil. I seem to be spoiling quite a lot at the moment and didn't realise. Yes.
It's all right. Everyone's played it. It was Game of the Year like a year ago.
Yeah.
It Takes Two is what it's called. Sorry, I need to get that right.
It Takes Two. That's it. Right. We've also mentioned Commander FAS.
Change your name in Discord, FFS.
Yes, that's the one. FFS. All of a sudden, I'm thinking of the Fast Show. FFS, Chris Waddle. This is the aforementioned video of how to use the Caustic Sync launcher. Again, we will put a link in the show notes so you can all see how you use them properly. So there you go. And also, the one other thing we do have to apologise for is that those of you might have noticed that last week's Lave Radio episode is a bit late. It only came out on Sunday. Now, this is because we had a bit of a problem with the website. Yes. Sometimes, as people know, operating system upgrades don't go as well as they should. It didn't. And it's taken a long time for the backup to restore. And then also we had a brute force attack as well, which is always fun. So yes, I do believe it's now a case where the Lave Radio website is back up and running. So that
I believe so as well. Yes.
Yeah. So you will be able to get all your back catalogue of Lave Radio goodness, all 10 years of it.
Yeah, apart from episode 263. Although I have found out it is on Spotify.
Was there anything important about episode 263?
It existed. Don't deny it.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, so yes, we are now back online, which is typical, really. We do know that Moof Simon was having major meltdowns trying to fix it, but we're back there. So go Moof. Right, let's move on to most. Oh, do you have something, Ben?
Yes, I do.
Go on.
I was about to, yeah. Right, okay, tourist spot 0676. In early August 3302, an antique Cobra Mark III was interred at the Tianila Orbital Graveyard. So there is references to the graveyard in Tianila, but the graveyard itself isn't there.
So it's technically in-game, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a tourist spot in Tianila.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right.
So yeah.
Fine. Okay, so I'm glad we've laid that one to rest for the moment. And no doubt, next time you get a chance, Ben, you can ask.
We had a ding, 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 and I had to ding it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, mostly Clueless. Now, this is something I found out while fighting Thargoids over the weekend, and I was so proud of myself for finding this, and then as soon as I found it out, I was probably the last one to find out, if you see what I mean. Yeah, it seems, well, as we know, point defense turrets are absolutely useless against Thargoid caustic missiles. However, if you have AXI multi-cannon turrets, you can actually target these caustic missiles and let the turrets take them out if you're able to maneuver and give yourself enough time. In my last stream, there's actually a couple of video evidence of me shooting down caustic missiles, which I thought was great. And then I said to everybody else, "Did you know you can do this?" And they went, "Yeah, we've been doing it for ages." So there's my balloon burst. Thanks.
Or you can use the new caustic sinks and just tank it like a boss.
Yeah, but you look epic shooting down a missile. It's like couldn't have shooting down a bullet. you just go. I suppose it's the caustic things are just like wiping lint off your shoulder.
I mean, you can just overheat it.
Yeah, mind you. I thought the overheating would do much more damage than it does, but it you just shrug it off, really. Anyway, Any other business this week? Well, you've got a couple of things.
Yes, we do. On a really positive note, it's International Women's Day tomorrow. Woohoo! We get one day. It's International Women's Day. There will be a link in some show notes, but Katie Chaos and myself are taking part in a fun little level 3 D&D one shot over the Fumble Folks channel, which is twitch.tv/FumbleFolks. Bunch of UK creators looking to showcase like women who like D&D and games and stuff. There's a couple of really cool folks on there. Would love for you to come along and check it out. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm bringing my level 3 monk out of retirement who is sassy as fuck, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be really fun. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait. Secondly, on a much lower note, like the emotional whiplash from this, like a lot of times you will have seen at the end of Lave Radio, if you catch us live, we do raid a couple of regulars. One of those regulars is Errol. And Errol isn't streaming today because her husband, Leo, has been in a very serious motorbike accident.
Oh dear.
And it's important to me to just let everybody know that it's going to cost a lot of money, and there is a GoFundMe out there that will be linked in the show notes. If you're able to contribute in any way, she would very, very much appreciate it. Much love to the pair of them. I hope Leo has a very, very speedy recovery, and yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, on that note, I think I'm afraid I'm going to have to add something about Commander Joe Plater. For those of you who know who Commander Joe Plater is, you probably have seen his announcement recently on his Discord. I just think everybody here at Lave Radio is sending commiserations and also as much love as we possibly can towards him.
And his missus.
Mm-hmm.
So we are thinking of you, Joe, and when your last stream happens, we'll be quite happy to pitch in whenever we can. So just to let you know. So moving on from there, I think we'll end there unless anybody's got something else. Nope. Right. Okay. Shoutouts. So first of all, our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me Elite Dangerous CQC. We're also giving shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. That's the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well. And there's also the Loose Screws, who love their cheese. Following this, we'll have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'll thanks to all those who have chipped in and the Twitch chat. And Ben, how many in-game commanders have you got?
So I've been flying about with Siberius, William Solo, Miggles. Katie's been about, but I know she had frame rate issues.
Yeah, tanking.
Yeah, I don't know why. I briefly had 7 FPS, and then I restarted Elite, and it was fine again. But I just kind of everything was fine. Then I went into the Lave Station, got into the docking bay, that was all fine. Got up the lift, and the lift was just nope, and you don't want any frames, do you?
Oh dear.
But then a quick restart got it back to life again. I don't know.
Elvis Kremen says that he's there too.
Oh, is Elvis there too?
Yes.
Sorry, Elvis, I didn't see you there.
So yeah, plenty of people annoying Ben, which is what we want, really.
No, we've been shooting things and looking at things, and then shooting some more things.
Yeah, normally innocent bystanders, probably.
couple of the texts might have been, but they did also have bounties. So hey.
I watched Free Guy again for the first time.
I do enjoy Free Guy.
And I'm there, every time you lot are there blowing away these poor innocents, and there's going to be one out there with a blue shirt. There's going to be one out there with a blue shirt eventually. Anyway, special thanks also goes to Commander Tokuso, Jay Antrax, and Alan Stroud, who have all created music for this show. But that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, now that it works again. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet at Lave Radio on Twitter, tweet us at Lave Radio at spacey.space on Mastodon, or you can use our Discord server over at discord.io/Lave Radio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you've got any questions or if there is anything you'd like us to ask or discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, special thanks go to Katie Chaos.
Thanking you for having me here.
You are always welcome. And of course, the usual suspects of Ben.
I might call him.
And Psychit.
Be gay.
Very gay.
Pride flags, please. Bye, Radio Daddy.
Do I have to? Can I be merry instead of gay?
Can you? I mean. I will see you. I will see you. Can I be merry instead of gay and raise you Pedro Pascal and you can sit the fuck down?
Okay, yeah, I'm gay.
Right, and I found out last week that actually we only get The Mandalorian not at midnight, we get it at 8 a.m.
Do we?
That's horrendous.
I watch it before work.
Yeah, because normally I was up last week at 1 o'clock in the morning and thought, right, I'll give it a go, and no, it wasn't there. No, just looking up Disney Plus, nothing else. Thank you. And no, it's 8 a.m. is when we get The Mandalorian.
To be completely fair, I could probably fill those 7 hours with 7 hours of Pedro Pascal content on YouTube, so that wouldn't be a problem for me.
Yes. Okay. We people have a go at me for blooming alpacas. I think we've got a.
Oh,
we've got now.
Oh my god! Ooh, I am there.
All right, and special thanks, of course, go to today's tech specialist for jumping in at the last moment. That'd be Commander Ventura.
Not a problem. Thanks a lot.
I thought Norman was always planned.
No, it was the wonderful Podnik Santiago, but he's snowed under with work.
Yeah,
Norman is always planned. Just there, just in case. Legend among men.
Norman is a legend. That is true.
Yeah, Norman the Plan Ventura. Right. Anyway, until next time, commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word.
Space Cathedral.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 7th of March 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Alliance condemns the Kumo crew. The Marlinists are in danger of being wiped out. And we look at the Maelstrom Mania.
It's taken a month, but the Alliance has finally got around to condemning the attempted takeover of the California Nebula by the Kumo crew at the beginning of February. The Alliance Commission tasked with investigating what happened believe that the Kumo crew had been infiltrating Alliance settlements and institutions for weeks. When the Thargoids attacked, which is something they do from time to time, the pirates used this as an excuse to activate their sleeper agents and to seize control of the majority Alliance assets in the nebula. It was a brazen and illegal act of aggression towards the Alliance, and the fact that the Alliance was able to issue a statement of condemnation only 5 weeks later is an indication of the seriousness of the matter. Thankfully for the Alliance, those on the ground acted far faster, and the Kumo crew was ejected from all the stations they'd taken over within a week. Prime Minister Mahan thanked those who had repelled the raiders in the California Nebula and elsewhere. He noted that the Kumo crew has recently been kicked out of the systems of Hythis, Collabinates and Seontiana, possibly as a result of the poor publicity following their abortive takeover attempt. Mahan warned Archon Delane that the Alliance was watching. They probably won't act, but oh boy, they're watching all right.
The democratic imperialist tradition of the Marlinist colonies is under a double threat, from greedy expansionists in neighbouring systems and from the nearby Thargoid invasion. That's according to an editorial in the Marlin Standard, and you have to admit, they have a point. Since rejecting an offer from the Emperor to become a self-governing protectorate of the Empire, the 8 Marlinist systems, whose subjects follow the democratic ideals of the founder of the Republic of Achenar, Marlin Duval, nearly 1,000 years ago, have been all but swallowed up by neighbouring factions including Sirius Special Forces, the Brazilian League of Pilots, and Hellraiser Incorporated. And with the Thargoids only a few light years away, it won't be long before the colonists have to face that threat too. Like other independent factions, the Marlinists have expressed their willingness to contribute to Aegis. However, the more immediate threat is the human one, from their uncomfortably close neighbours. First Minister Olivia Volkov has speculated whether the Marlinist colonies need to establish their own standing army to help defend their borders. It seems unlikely that the threat of total annihilation by the Thargoids will be enough to bring these independent systems together in a spirit of cooperation against a common enemy. But if they continue to squabble amongst themselves, they may be wiped off the face of the galaxy in just a few weeks.
The past few days have seen many commanders engaged in one of 3 Thargoid-related activities. There are plenty of commanders fighting the invading Thargoids using weapons of many colours. This is an essential part of the war effort, and of course, it's not at all inhumane or unfair to have 10 commanders all ganging up on one defenceless Hydra, is it? There's another group of commanders helping Aegis find new ammonia worlds, although the easiest way to find an ammonia world these days is to look at the big round thing behind your nearest maelstrom. Many more commanders are not so much finding new ammonia worlds as following a painting-by-numbers guided tour of all the nearby ammonia worlds that Universal Cartographics already knows about. Kruger 60, Planet A1 must have been scanned more than 1,000 times in the past couple of days. The third group of commanders is desperately, and with mixed success, trying to unlock the new Caustic Sink launcher, which will allow them to stay longer in the caustic clouds of the Thargoid maelstrom. But in order to do that, they need to gather materials from those caustic clouds. The tech brokers, who are making these modules available on all the rescue ships, have a grim sense of humour. Usefully, they have also made available to buy corrosion-resistant cargo racks and the previously rather pointless meta-alloy hull reinforcements which protect against caustic damage, but nothing else. Less usefully, these modules are also behind an unlock paywall, requiring a one-off payment of meta-alloys and other commodities and materials, so you may well find yourself heading out on a materials hunt to unlock the modules that will allow you to survive in the maelstrom long enough to harvest the materials to unlock a module that will allow you to stay in the maelstrom a little bit longer. Those who earned a sample caustic sink launcher in the Aegis Appeal that finished last week find themselves at a considerable advantage when it comes to this activity. While they are in a maelstrom, they can wait until their caustic sinks are saturated with caustic nastiness and fire off the used sink, thus extending the protection further until they run out of sinks. Collecting the caustic shards and corrosive mechanisms by blowing up the caustic generators and firing off a few collector limpets is relatively straightforward, especially as you get to keep your winnings even if your ship is subsequently destroyed. However, using the Xenoscanner and research limpets to scoop the caustic tissue samples out of the caustic generators and then escaping with your prize before your ship melts is difficult. For those without a fleet carrier to store the tissue samples in between runs, it requires a huge amount of skill and luck not to lose the first 4 while you're trying to collect the last one you need. And it might actually be better to give up on unlocking the caustic sink launchers for now and go and save up for a fleet carrier first. There's a community goal running that will help you earn credits towards your fleet carrier by collecting exploration data. And it's not just ammonia worlds that count. You didn't really want to find out what's at the heart of the maelstroms, did you?
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.
Silent running.
It was cold, I was freezing, I'd had too much booze. So I thought I would pack up my cow for the night. She was packed to the gills with rare goods I had saved. Here's a big hole of ox for my lady. My comms panel opened, a voice said, ha ha, now give me 10 tons of your loot. I was stubborn and drunk.